What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Phoenix here, and welcome back to a brand new Marvel Spider-Man 2 informational video. And today, we have some breaking news as well today. So, apparently, Insomniac thinks that the symbiote might be a little too strong, is what I'm hearing. So, if you guys haven't already, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 400 over here on the channel, man. Also, join the 24% of people that are not subscribed to help. And without a doubt, let's go ahead and dive into this. Let's go. So, according to this article from Gamer, it's saying the symbiote is a force to be reckoned with in Marvel Spider-Man 2. To the point where Insomniac is concerned with making sure its attacks aren't too overpowered. Venom was already teased in the initial Marvel Spider-Man 2 trailer, but longtime comic fans know that the sinister symbiote that grants the villain his power was originally bonded to Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. It wasn't entirely clear if Insomniac would follow this in its retelling of the classic Venom storyline, at least until last week's PlayStation Showcase confirmed that Peter will indeed don his classic black suit. Obviously, this pretty much just tells you that they are worried and concerned about them being overpowered. Like, for example, like you saw in the gameplay how OP that suit was, and yeah. But anyways, following that, it says, the bulk of last week's Marvel Spider-Man 2 trailer consisted of Peter showing off his new symbiote playstyle, and it has already made quite the impression. While fending off Kraven the Hunter's army of mercenaries, Peter unleashes a brutal flurry of tendril-based attacks and enhanced physical strikes that capture just how much darker the alien makes the once cheery web slinger. Sure enough, the symbiote is already corrupting Peter's mind in a short time that he has been shown wearing it in Spider-Man 2 so far. So much so that the trailer ends with Miles worrying for his fellow wallcrawler. Now, obviously, this clearly indicates for the fact that, obviously, in the gameplay, we saw how aggressive the suit was. We saw how much the tendrils were doing, even from far range. And it could also show that it pretty much relies and it pretty much corrupts Peter's mind in a short time. And so to the point where we do not know what happened up to that point. Because when you really think about it, in that trailer, Peter's mind was already starting to be corrupt, especially whenever it came to certain stuff that he was doing, especially the way that he did that civilian at the end. Like, why? But following that, it also says, and this is something that the creative director and the game director, Brian Idahar and Ryan shared. He's not the only one concerned about Peter's new symbiotic powers. In Marvel Spider-Man 2, as the developers at Insomniac Games were worried that his finishing attacks might be just a bit too powerful, in a recent interview with IGN, Marvel Spider-Man 2 creative director Brian Idahar and Ryan Smith discussed the efforts that went to ensuring that the symbiote-infected Spider-Man feels as powerful and brutal as fans expect. This also meant making sure Spidey's attacks were properly balanced so that the game wouldn't be too easy, which was an area of concern during the game's development. So at least they did that. So what I'm guessing here is for the fact that they went and made the difficulty a lot more harder, and also on top of that, not to mention for the fact that, as you guys know, when Peter gets a symbiote, his attacks are insanely OP. Like, you saw what, like, once again, you saw what he did to everybody in that trailer, to Kraven's Hunters, right? So my guess is for the fact that they went and balanced out everything, for the fact that, obviously, as you guys know, that was a build that we were supposed to get. That was a demo that we were supposed to get back in 2022. So they had a lot of time to make sure it's properly balanced. So obviously with that, like, they went back and probably fixed it to make sure that, you know, that the suit's not OP. Next, it also says Idahar and Smith also described how Marvel Spider-Man 2 story will explore the effects of the symbiote has on Peter's mind and the toll its corruption takes on his friends and loved ones. As mentioned before, Miles notes that something is very wrong with Peter at the end of the Marvel Spider-Man 2's latest gameplay trailer. And the Peter Parker voice actor himself, Yuri, said that he researched real-life addiction behaviors to better capture how Peter grows to depend on the symbiote in his quest to save his friend Harry Osborn. Now, as you guys know, a part of that symbiote storyline is for the fact that Peter's obviously going to be more leaning on the symbiote more, for the fact that obviously, as you guys tell, like normally Peter uses web shooters and stuff like that. Obviously, he's not going to be using his web shooters at all. He's going to be relying on the symbiote more and more and more, for the fact that it takes all of the pressure off of him, and it pretty much leads to him just liking the suit more, liking its benefits more, and he has to use that suit for the fact of he's drawn to it and he likes the power and he doesn't want to let it go. And on top, not to mention, it says right here, Peter grows in his quest to save his friend Harry Osborn. Now, as you guys know, a part of that symbiote storyline is for the fact that Peter's obviously going to be more leaning on the symbiote more, for the fact that obviously, as you guys tell, like normally Peter uses web shooters and stuff like that. Obviously, he's not going to be using his web shooters at all. He's going to be relying on the symbiote more and more and more, for the fact that it takes all of the pressure off of him, and it pretty much leads to him just liking the suit more, liking its benefits more, and he has to use that suit for the fact of he's drawn to it and he likes the power and he doesn't want to let it go. Obviously, with this, I'm still thinking that Harry went to Peter and the symbiote got on him somehow, or the symbiote found the right host in Peter. So other than that, that's pretty much what I'm guessing from that. And also following that, it also leads up this. It also says, while the symbiote does look like it will drive Peter Parker down a darker path in Marvel Spider-Man 2, it will also grant the web slinger a host of powerful new abilities that lets the players unleash a monstrous side of Spider-Man's classic black suit without being overpowered. The developers of Insomniac have taken care to walk a fine line between a fun power fantasy and a challenging gameplay experience. And the players finally get to slip on the symbiote for themselves when Marvel Spider-Man 2 finally swings onto PS5 later this year. Now, obviously, with that, I feel like they had to obviously balance them. And of course, the story is going to be a darker path. But without a doubt, this is going to allow us to see like a side of Peter that we have never seen before. And it's going to dive into the darkest story, which we know, which is obviously a symbiote story combined with the Kraven's Last Hunt storyline as well. So if you guys haven't already, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys later with another spectacular Spidey webtastic banger.